Previously on Movie Schmovie.
Oh, I've downloaded the wrong podcast.
God only knows what those savages have done to her.
In the debris, man. Why? The debris.
All right, so we got nothing.
I will kill your infant daughter.
It is a 30-gallon vat of filth.
Tip of the pork pie, maybe.
Slap it, flip it, rub it down.
Oh no.
That's just the taste.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one.
All right, everybody. This is episode number 88 of Movie Schmovie. My name's John, and I'm here with Ron. Hi, Ron.
Sorry, hey, hello.
I'm calling you Ron now.
Hello.
All right, and then I'm over here with Steven. Hello, Steven.
Hello, John.
Thanks for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me.
This is a special episode of Movie Schmovie because it's going to be kind of a grab bag of different topics, but we're going to start with sort of an interesting subject. We touched on it in our last episode. It's the idea of movies that have a central performance behind them. You might call them one-man shows, or if you didn't want to be offensive, you could say one-person shows. Or if you wanted to be really forward-thinking, you could just go ahead and call them all one-woman shows. I think that might be what we should call them. But we're going to talk about one-man shows tonight, and I'm about to bring my vocal volume up to its normal level. It's like an episode already in progress because we just recorded the first part.
Right.
Which people heard last week.
And we slid in, snuck up on you bitches, and then we're going to do a second one.
Yeah, we're going to do another one.
Snuck right up on you.
Well,
That's usually what happens when there's a first part.
Yeah.
Usually the second one eventually comes, but we're coming like right away.
Right.
But yeah, we were talking about Gravity, and definitely one of the things that's unique about that movie as far as a big budget film or an epic kind of space adventure film really is that it does center on primarily the character Ryan Stone played by Sandra Bullock. And you could say the movie gets a lot of its quality and a lot of its power from that fact that you're following one character through an ordeal. And so, yeah, if we look at that as a type of movie, there definitely have been quite a few films that fit that mold. There's so many different ways to approach that when you think of a movie that only really has one person in it. What did you think, Ronald, when you heard that? Like, did you immediately think that like concert films and stand-up films and things like that were off the table, or did you think of them as part of the pool that you would choose from?
It was really hard to think about movies that fit this criteria. I did think, am I thinking like Aziz Ansari stand-up, or what do I pick? I didn't really know, and then I thought about it more and more, and I realized that there were some that I could do.
Yeah.
There was some that I could pick.
Yeah, I think that for me it was realizing there's certain movies that do have a lot more than one actor in them, but they still ultimately come down to one actor being on screen for much of the film. And that opened it up a little bit. But I still think that, yeah, you have to consider even those, I would say, concert films were on the table. I was thinking about all the ones that I thought held up as good movies, though, because there's a lot of great stand-up specials that I don't necessarily think I would put on this list just because they don't feel like movies to me. But what about you, Steve?
I just went right to movies.
Yeah.
I didn't really, when you mentioned that to me before we were recording, I was like, oh, damn, maybe I should have thought of that because...
Well, I would say specifically ones that have been released as movies, though.
Sure,
not just hour-long, specials.
No, totally.
But,
No, that's kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, I don't know. There's. I immediately went to like two movies, and then I kind of filled in a third one. And I don't know that you guys are gonna. I don't know if they're the two that you're thinking of. Mm-hmm. You seem pretty sure of what they are, John. Or like you're like, oh yeah, the two.
Well, no, there's definitely a couple that jumped right to mind for me.
Okay.
But I would say that, as we both mentioned before we recorded this, that you kind of don't want to go with those super obvious ones. You try to think of all the ones you really liked, but sometimes the most obvious one is the one that looms largest in your mind. And so, I think that when you're talking about a small category like this is not like a whole genre of films.
Sure.
This is just... Although, doing my research, there are a lot of them that I've never heard of, and most of them are like older films or foreign films. There seem to be a lot of movies that I might want to check out because they supposedly are riveting and they do focus on one actor, but a lot of them I haven't seen.
Okay.
And it's one of those times that makes me feel really middlebrow. So,
You're not as cool as I thought you were, John.
Not as small. Well, to you, I should seem highbrow. But to the average intellectual, I should seem middle brow.
To you, a lesser man.
Well, I'll get started off.
Somebody's got to average it out. You know what I mean?
I'll get started off with a movie that I actually saw very recently that I liked quite a bit. It's a film from 2009 starring Sam Rockwell
Bastard.
called Moon.
Okay.
I got that one too.
Jumped to my mind because it seems like it's one of those movies. It's not just starring one guy, but it's about being alone.
Yeah. No, what I loved about this movie, beyond just like, I think Sam Rockwell's a beast in this movie. I love Sam Rockwell.
He's incredible.
But it almost feels more like the sci-fi, a perfect example of what sci-fi should feel like an alien-free sci-fi movie that is completely just atmospheric and moody and just really makes you uncomfortable. And it reminds me of like the best pieces of like the Twilight Zone that I love. And it feels like that to me. And, you know, to be I think this was the first film that Duncan Jones made.
David Bowie's son.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's a powerhouse. I mean, it's really uncomfortable to watch. And
it is very uncomfortable, despite being kind of funny. And,
Because some of the funny parts are not really funny. Like, they're only funny because of how uncomfortable you are. And you just kind of like laugh it off.
And because it's Sam Rockwell, who brings a certain energy to it. But yeah, I thought that there's almost nothing to say about this movie without ruining it. I would say anyone who hasn't seen Moon, it's a really imaginative film that addresses almost like a philosophical question that you might not have thought about, but it takes this idea of, man, you really can't say. But there's a sci-fi trope that a lot of people have used and that we talk about a lot. And you know, there's something that is going on in this film that is related to something that people are actually doing. And it's in the movie, it's a much more futuristic version of it. But it enters into this ethical, philosophical question of, if you sort of copy a consciousness, what are the individual rights of that consciousness as opposed to the original consciousness? And you know, it reminded me of Primer in that sense, in that you have sort of different iterations of the same person having to kind of contend with each other. And I don't want to ruin it by saying more than that, but it was fascinating how the movie really hinged on examining that idea of you know, of blank versus blank. And visually, I think this is a pretty cheap film, right? I mean, this was a small movie, but it was very, it was a $5 million movie, and I think that they managed to really stretch that budget. There was only maybe a few scenes where the effects, you could feel the effects being limited by the budget. In general, they found a really nice atmospheric way to create this moon base that Sam Rockwell's character is working on. And all the technology feels very realistic and lived in. And yeah, like you said, Steve, alien free. It felt like true, in the same way that Gravity could be called science fiction, even though it's a little misleading to call it this. This feels more in that pocket of like true science fiction, but with a real, you know, this feels like a story that Arthur C. Clarke could have written in the 60s or something like that.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Moon.
You've seen it? Oh, you've never seen it?
I've never seen it.
That's great.
No, you should definitely see it. I think you would like it a lot. Do you like Sam Rockwell?
I do.
Okay, I think that would be the test. If someone doesn't like Sam Rockwell, I think this movie is just Sam Rockwell. You know,
Right.
But if you like him at all, or if you've enjoyed him,
And that's why it qualifies for this list. It's just him.
Okay.
yes,
Gotcha.
even more so than the average movie that fits this category, though, because it really is
for
like.
sure.
They even take great pains to almost. Well, there's only a couple of other faces that you ever see in it. You know, so.
Interesting.
What's one that comes to your mind, Ronald?
I think because of his own isolation, just because of how strange he was. The most recent version of something like this that I could think of was The Master. It was like that because he was by himself so much, and then when he was around people, he was still by himself.
You're talking specifically about Joaquin?
Joaquin Phoenix's character, who was he the star of the movie?
He was. I would challenge you a little bit on the one-man showness of that, but you know, you can definitely make an argument that you're seeing everything through his eyes in a sense.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I guess the reason I thought about it was because of people creating islands in areas where they don't need to, and he did through his personality. It was like even when he was in a room of people, he did something to isolate himself, and they felt like he was the only one there with this way of thinking. It's like, super physical. I don't know. And I guess I was thinking about the first maybe half an hour of the movie where he was with him. He was by himself a lot. Like just kind of on the beach and jerking off on the beach. And
I love The Master so much. I'm not going to complain about it being on any list. But
yeah, but I don't know. I was thinking about that movie just because he was by himself so much. Yeah. I mean, and he was with people too, but he was by himself a lot. But
now that the rules have been completely blown off this thing, Steve,
we got to keep the train. We got to pull back on.
You could just you could name
derailed
the One Direction film or something.
Well, don't think that bad.
Yeah,
Power Rangers a movie,
right? So the Avengers.
I'll bring it back on track here, and I'm gonna go with a movie from 2010, starring Ryan Reynolds, directed by Rodrigo Cortez, which is called Buried. Mm-hmm. A movie I remember seeing like the teaser or like the short that they made for it before it actually was made. That a smaller project that Ryan Reynolds like really got behind and helped get made, and it really is a movie that's just 94 minutes of him in a box, and he plays an American truck driver working in Iraq who basically is kidnapped, buried alive. He has a few things buried with him: a lighter, cell phone, flashlight, glow sticks, things like that. And it's basically 94 minutes of him piecing together what happened and then trying to figure out how to get out of it. The last 5 minutes of the movie are super intense. I was absolutely involved with the film from minute one. I love Ryan Reynolds, and it was kind of like a true test for me to see how much I liked him, because he's like, he can be that kind of funny, charismatic guy that too much of on the screen I feel like could ruin him for me. Kind of like sometimes I feel like Will Ferrell can be. Different kind of actor, don't get me wrong, but in a dramatic like role like this, where there still is bits of humor where like he kind of has that personality shine through even in moments like this. Just a really, really great film with a really powerhouse performance from Ryan Reynolds. And like I said, the last like 5 minutes, the last 60 seconds of this movie are super riveting, super nerve-wracking, and ultimately like just a mind fuck in terms of how it ends, and just completely makes me feel wasted after I watch this movie of what you just invest into what is happening and what you think is going to happen and about to happen and doesn't happen. But
did you like it?
Yeah, I just said that.
Did you like it? I mean, like
I genuinely love that movie. I love Buried.
I didn't see it.
I mean, it's got like an 89% on Rotten Tomato.
Ryan Reynolds movie with an 89%.
Yeah, it's like I think it's his. I mean, no doubt, or 87%. It's like highest movie for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's not in like a lot of critically acclaimed films, but this is, I think, one of the ones he's
higher
done.
than R.I.P.D.
Surprisingly, yes.
Higher than Smoking Aces.
I don't know actually what Smoking Aces.
Smoking Aces was pretty decent though.
I like Smoking Aces.
I like Smoking Aces.
But
that's really pretty good.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
I don't remember it really jumping out at me, but then it's a mood thing, man. Like I realized that like sometimes you can watch a film when you're like half-ass watching it, and I feel like I didn't invest as much attention into it as I should have. But
I mean, it's super ambitious, and I mean, I think the fact that it doesn't really go anywhere beyond that shot, it makes it kind of unique. Like even with like a film like Moon or Gravity, they're usually in very there's a lot of scenery to eat up. That kind of can supplement that one man or one woman show. In this movie, it's really nothing beyond the lighting hitting him. Like in a box that's like you see dirt, you see remnants of sediment and things like that, and how he configures his body to get like the certain items that were left in the box. It's kind of creative in how they do it, and I think his interactions, the only interactions he gets is over that cell phone, which itself is a timely experience because eventually that battery will die. The clock he's working on for like the ransom that's demanded from him is one thing, but then the battery is another, and there's really no way to reach anybody beyond that phone, and it's just kind of a really cool way of doing it. I mean, it truly is. I think one of, if not the ultimate, like one-man show movie where, you feel super claustrophobic watching it, or I did, and you really invest in whether or not, like, you care about what happens to this guy within the first 5 minutes. And I think he really, he really, I thought did a great job beyond going against what a lot of people think he is, and kind of getting you to buy into why it matters that he tries to survive this experience.
Yeah.
But I would definitely recommend it, John. I mean, I don't know if you'll love it like I did, but I think it's a cool film, and one of the best examples of like a true, like, put him in a box, let me see you for 90 minutes, and I'll tell you what I think of you kind of movie. And I mean, I thought it was great. Buried.
I will go with the movie that I feel like bends the rules a little bit of this, just because I think that it's somehow implied when you're talking about one-man shows that you're not necessarily talking about a performance piece. I do think that we could have made the stipulation that concert films were not allowed, and therefore it would have struck all of the stand-up movies from the list. But there's a movie that I kept coming back to that maybe it's just because this is the movie that I've seen the most that fits this description. But it was on HBO a lot when I was a kid. It was something that my entire family loved. It's from 1983. It's Bill Cosby himself.
Never seen it.
Which was maybe one of the most...
You were going to say Ghost Dad.
One of the most formative... A one-man show. No, it was one of the most formative ideas I had in my mind of like what stand-up comedy could be when I was a little kid. And it was all of Bill Cosby's like stories about his kids and his family. And it was basically the batch of material that led to the creation of The Cosby Show. I mean, a lot of the characters he talked about when he was talking about his kids in that, it was very easy. When I was young, I was able to tell, some of the scenes from those early episodes of The Cosby Show were lifted right from his stand-up, from this special Bill Cosby himself. But I just remember that, my mom loved it, my sister loved it, my dad loved it. And we would all laugh and quote it back and forth. And it was, prior to getting to see something like Eddie Murphy Raw, it was the first real exposure I had to that kind of stand-up film where you're watching. I mean, let me look at the length here. It's like an hour and 45 minutes long. So, I mean, it's a long piece, and there's a lot of stories told in it, but it's just a masterful command of the crowd. And I think that watching Bill Cosby, again, what we think of as Bill Cosby, nowadays... it's kind of hard not to filter him through. He's kind of the old fogey who's always telling the rappers to pull their pants up and shit like that, Yeah. But there was a time when he may have been everyone's agreed upon choice for like funniest man breathing. And I think that what he represents to stand-up, the art of stand-up, a lot of stand-up comics will tell you they got started doing jokes by memorizing his albums, So I think just in terms of that, just what a great performer he is. I mean, obviously there's Richard Pryor concert performances that you could mention too. I already said Eddie Murphy. There have been some really important ones, but I think this is one that just really sticks out in my mind as a great example of a movie that is all about, a person standing there talking, and it's riveting. So yeah, Bill Cosby himself.
I guess my next pick.
You guess?
2002's Phone Booth.
Phone booth.
Colin Farrell doing it. Acting in a booth. Threatened his life on the line. I
love how you're putting this together. It's so broken up. I love it.
It's I don't know, man. I think it was it's one of those movies that tricked me, man. I was like, I'm watching this movie. Fuck. I was just watching this guy in a phone booth for 90 minutes. But like, you don't think about that because the action is done so well. I mean, it does go off a little bit. Talk to Forrest Whitaker's character and Colin Farrell's girlfriend.
No, when you mentioned this one to me earlier, when I suggested this list to you, and you said like that phone booth movies, which you were talking about phone booth, like you said,
it's actually pronounced phone booth,
like that phone booth movie,
phone booth
starring Colin Farrell, and I said that's a pretty perfect example because even though it does have all these other characters in it, it does have a central character who you are stuck with him the whole time.
Yeah, it was done well.
I think the big thing with that film that really makes it work, and I'm a fan of the movie too, is the pacing of it.
Yeah.
I think for what it is, really kind of committing to that, like, I guess a thriller / action vibe. The pacing is everything. I mean,
something
I think
frantic.
It does. Yeah, it's a great word. It doesn't really let you kind of piece together the flaws of the film.
Yeah.
Like what it does wrong. I think it moves so fast that you don't really have time to sit on that. You just kind of stick with his motivation to get out of this situation alive.
I like that every time that it felt like it wasn't there weren't real stakes, it got serious. Like he's like, this is real. And then,
Who was the voice on the phone in that? The bad guy?
I think it's
know.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense now.
He's got a good voice for that.
He does, man. His voice still doesn't match his face to me, but
What I'm gonna need you to do.
yeah, he does have a great voice. But yeah, that there were the parts where he kind of doubted it, and then like he kind of shot at the booth. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is very real. It's so funny, Steve.
Ronald, you have to understand, Steve just likes your sentence structure sometimes. He just likes the way you express thoughts. There's no telling what made him laugh.
Just seen him laugh in the corner of my eye.
I would say that half the time when you're around Steve is what we call tickled.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Foam booth.
Phone booth.
Phone booth.
Phone booth.
Phone booth.
Phone booth.
Stevie Wonder.
Great songwriter.
Yeah, I know, man.
Great songwriter. My next one is
Was that apropos of anything? I was trying to connect to that.
I don't know.
Did he record a song called Phone Booth?
Phone booth.
He should have.
Phone booth.
He did just call to say he loved you.
Yeah, that's right.
So there it was from a phone booth.
He didn't mention that he was in a phone booth.
I think it's very funny that people listen to that happy birthday song, and it's about Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like a happy birthday, like it's celebratory, but it's not.
It's not for you.
It's not for you. It's
not for you when you
that
turn
makes
21.
me laugh
Yeah.
so much whenever I hear it. Sorry, not for you.
The next one that I have in this non-list show, more conversation type show,
Yes.
is
Oh shit!
one of my favorite actors
Totally forgot.
of all time. And I mentioned him, I think, in the last episode, who could possibly play George Clooney's character in Gravity, and that's Mr. Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And that would be the film Castaway.
Which is one of the ones that I was referring to as like, someone's got to talk about this
Got to
one.
bring it up, yeah. Not a perfect movie, but God, I don't even know. Like, Tom Hanks, man, like he just... I felt like watching him on that island felt like what most of us would feel like who didn't have a fucking clue what to do.
Right, and the brilliance of putting him in that is that exact
Yeah, exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Like I can invest in watching this and believe everything that's happening only because I feel like I would be as clueless initially and not sure what to do and as desperate at times. And his character, the little bit that you see before it all happens, there's nothing that make me think he's any more special than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just a guy. He's an everyman, which Tom Hanks is so great at being. And seeing that everyman completely just turned upside down and committing to surviving. I mean, that movie it's just a great experience. And I think it may not be his best film, but I think it's one of his better performances because he literally is all I have to watch. And, for all the things that come out of that movie, like, the volleyball, like Wilson and all these other characters or, ways he makes to cope with the experience is really nothing compared to the emotional journey that you go with from him when that movie opens to when the film closes, when he makes it back. But not to ruin it for people that haven't seen it.
Well, no, I was going to say what I always think of this movie in relation to the fact that it was the first... Robert Zemeckis is like a repeat offender of editing these trailers that give away the entire plot of his movies. And before, there was a recent discussion that seems to be going on over the last few years about spoilers and whether people actually enjoy movies less for knowing what happens in them. And people say, well, therefore spoilers are okay because it's shown that people enjoy movies just as much if they know what happens. But I don't like that decision being taken away from me. I don't like when the trailer for the movie, like if I'm going to seek information out and read about a movie, I may find out things that would spoil it. But watching the trailer to get me excited to go see a movie, I don't want that to ruin the movie for me.
Not at all.
And Robert Zemeckis, this was back, maybe 10 years ago, he was on the record saying that he thinks that audiences like to see what they're going to get. And so he tends to show a lot in his trailers. Well, in Castaway, there's a shot of him being rescued, of him on the plane back. Mm-hmm. And there's even a shot of him like going to see Helen Hunt. Like, so it's like, from the trailer he gets back, which, I mean, I guess that doesn't hurt the experience of the movie, but in a way, it takes away what might have been the main bit of suspense. And of course, now I've just repeated that effect here. But but it did seem like you probably remember. You seem to be agreeing, Steve. It was obvious from the get-go that was the arc of the film.
For sure.
And so maybe what's unique about it is that knowing that happened, it's still you got into that. How is this guy just going to get through the days he has to get through without losing his mind?
Yeah, I mean, it literally is simply, what do you do?
Yeah. It's survival, but it's almost
just,
like a more drawn out version of survival.
It's really it's weird to like try to put it in the words like this kind of movie because it feels bigger than like my other movie, like I said, Buried. But it's that cliche that we always talk about, like what would you do if you were stuck on an island? You know, what would be your list of songs? What would be your one thing you take with you? And you know, in a situation where you don't really have anything,
you would never have said a volleyball.
No, maybe I don't know. I used to like volleyball. That scene in Top Gun is great with the volleyball scene. But
sexy.
Yeah, very.
Very sexy.
I don't know, it's just a really cool experience, and I think that it comes down to literally just being, what would you do? And experiencing what he goes through and how he reacts to every little success that he has. Like it's the biggest thing in the world. That is exactly how I feel like it would feel to me. And I mean, little things that happen in life now when we have those moments of like little like happenstance, like oh, that's great. Yeah. You know, the dumbest little things. When that situation, like the dumbest little things, it's like the world.
Well, I mean, like for us, we're like overjoyed if we get to a place and we discover they have free Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So like this, you know, he's experiencing whatever the opposite of that kind of triumph is. It's like he's going back through like discovering fire and how do you feed yourself.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, so like this movie is so much about how do you pass all that time. It's not so much about there's debris coming and in the next 90 minutes you've got to get to a safe haven like in Gravity. Yeah. It's like, no, this is about a guy who the problem is that he's got time. Yeah. He's got nothing but time.
Yeah.
And like even his eventual like escape from the island is framed as a kind of what else am I going to do except try to get off this fucking island, you know? It's not like he's getting off the island because there's a volcano or because there's tigers after him or anything like that.
He just wants to and is bored.
Yeah.
Close runner-up is Money Pit. Tom Hanks in a house by himself.
But he's not really by himself with like 19 other characters, though.
And the other people. House.
And that is all you ever need to know about Ronald and being able to stick on a topic.
Ronald took this list to be movies that have
people in it.
That have at least one actor in them.
I just wanted to say Money Pit.
It's greater than or equal to one.
Yeah, at least one actor, Ronald. Well, since I just said Tigers, I might as well jump into my next pick.
Damn you.
Because this is one that I almost didn't think of because it has so much going on in it. But talk about survival. Talk about a person in a fucked up situation who has to think constantly. The whole not first chunk, but like once you get this character into isolation, the whole middle piece of this movie is dealing with how to negotiate this weird situation he's in. As my son brilliantly put it, it's really hard to try to make friends with a tiger. It's Life of Pi from last year. And I guess I should give special recognition to the actor that we're referring to here, Suraj Sharma, who I think this was his first big movie, if not his first role of all. And I think that he's like... it's amazing how strong of a presence this character becomes and how by the time this movie's over, you don't just admire the actor for having had this like believable rapport with all these digital creatures, but it's kind of what you were saying about Tom Hanks with every little discovery he makes. You get this real sense of triumph when this kid figures out, okay, how's he going to be in a situation where he's basically on a boat with a tiger and not just immediately get eaten by the tiger. How are these characters going to hash out their territory and how are they going to learn to coexist? It all happens right in front of your eyes, and it's really interesting. And again, back to Henry, what sticks with him is the urine. He remembers the part where that guy was peeing on the boat. But I mean, all that stuff, like the fact that he's in a literal territorial pissings with a tiger when you've got like just so many square feet to coexist. That movie could have been so boring or could have been so bleak, but instead it's like, I mean, you said it about Gravity, Ronald, but it's visual poetry. So much of Life of Pi is just awe-inspiring to look at. And if there's a movie that I wish I had seen in the theaters in 3D, it was that one. So I would say Life of Pi. Again, another movie that could be on a lot of different lists, but definitely one where you are forced to contend with a crazy situation through the eyes of a single character, and you really come to feel the growing strength of that character. It's a really inspirational movie.
Okay.
So back to the money pit.
Back to
Ronald says like Magnolia,
in that goddamn house.
a movie with
What's the biggest ensemble cast ever known in a film?
the Royal Tenenbaums.
There it is.
My last pick is a movie that I don't care how you feel about this man. I think that this was one of his best films.
Why don't you care how? What if I have strong feelings about this man?
I don't know if you have strong
You just said you don't care.
feelings about William Smith.
Ah,
It is the future. It is dark. People have died, and there aren't too many people, at least in his proximity. Will Smith in I Am Legend.
Did you have missed your calling? Why are you working where you work? You need to just solicit every major or not major studio. Let me just put 17 words together to sell your movie.
or just a number of people call that have things explained to them. Just let it be Ronald that explains.
It is the future. People have died. There are other people. And Will Smith.
Just like Tom Hanks in The Money Pit.
That movie, pre-sale ticket already bought.
So that should just be me.
The best part, people have died. There are other people.
There are other people.
There aren't many people, I think.
Or aren't many people.
Yeah, man. It was a great movie to me. I mean, story wise, it was one of the best.
What movie is this?
I Am Legend.
Oh yeah.
Or the sci-fi version, I Am Omega. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. It was fucking.
You mean
terrible.
Omega Man?
No, it was like I Am Omega.
You're talking about the old version of?
No,
I Am
this was like right around the time that I Am Legend came out.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those.
With Mark
Is
Dacascos.
that counter? It was that counter to every
It was
movie.
the Atlantic Rim.
Well, because Omega Man,
That makes me laugh every time I hear it. Atlantic Rim makes me laugh every time I hear it.
Gulf of Mexico Rim.
Gulf of Mexico.
No, I know the one you're talking about. I Am Omega.
Yeah, it's like I Am Omega.
It was like a direct to video thing.
Well, because the short story or the novel that I Am Legend is based on was adapted in the 60s, or in 1971 it was adapted as The Omega Man starring Charlton Heston. So I guess I Am Omega was probably like an even more direct attempt
came
at
out
like
the same year.
chipping away on I Am Legend. But
Yeah, and it was kind of a similar thing. But I think that story-wise, it wasn't the best. But Will Smith's acting in it was really pretty good. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, I thought that one thing that movie did. That whole section where he's got a life that's like safe, but he's got to get back home in time.
I'm so sorry,
But do you ever get that feeling like you get home and you get behind the closed door and you get in bed and you're almost like, whew, I'm safe?
Yes, he did have that safe haven.
That movie has that feel to it that I always like, and I always hate it in those movies because you know it's not going to last long. But it's like there's a system, there's something that's working.
It was really good because it was like safe for so long.
Yeah,
you're like, man, he's good, and then it starts to get crazy, and he's. Yeah, it was a good movie.
All right, Giggle Puss. What's your last pick?
Oh my God, this is the best. He was good. Will Smith's good. He's just good. Straight from everything he's done, he was good. He was doing it good. Oddly enough, I also have a Will Smith film.
Really?
No, not at all.
Oh. Bait and switch.
I'm gonna Walker this a little bit.
All right.
Not really with two films, but a film with two people. I'm not gonna say too much about it because I was like struggling for like the fourth movie, but it was a cool film that came out. It was like one of those kind of underground buzz movies back in 2003. Loosely based on a true story about a couple that basically gets left out in the middle of the ocean. It's called Open Water.
Yeah.
It's a small movie that came out. Lionsgate picked it up back in 2003, based on a story from '98. Just one of those movies where like this shit just the worst possible thing happens. And just a couple being thrown into a situation like, oh, this is a great experience and we're going scuba diving together and so romantic and so beautiful and whatever. And then they come up and they just left them. You know, they thought they were accounted for and they left them. And it just, all the elements kind of coming into play, darkness, the like how huge the ocean is and how small you are in it. And not to mention the natural predators that exist out there, which, you know, ultimately is like the scary part of the movie towards the end. It's just a really effective, very unsettling, and not a film for everybody. I know a lot of people that kind of thought that it was kind of boring and slow. But again, another situation where I can't help but think, how would I react?
Yeah.
In a situation like that.
I mean, that's the crux of that movie. Is that
that's it.
Because you just are like, I don't ever want to experience that, but I might force myself to sit through it
and
in a
see what
movie.
happens to them.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what it was for me. And that's not so much like I would say that I love their performance. I do think they did a really great job in the film. The two actors who I think have gone on to do nothing else, but I think just their relationship in the context of being in that horrible situation, how they play off one another, how they work together at times and not so much together at other times, and how they help one another succeed in certain situations, and their individual failures ultimately at times lead to a couple failure on emotional and physical levels. But just a really cool experience of a film, and collectively as a performance, I think something that you can really kind of get into and kind of just stick it out to see what happens.
You know, I thought about movies that had two characters in them too, and I was going to say they would be admissible, you know, just because I think when you're talking about a situation where it's down to a couple of people dealing with a situation, it has almost the same effect of, I mean, like in fact in Gravity, there's, you know, much of the film she's with George Clooney. So even in that movie, which is pretty much a one-person show,
right,
it's got other characters in it. What I do remember us saying was, even before we'd seen Gravity, though, is we were talking about how the only thing you can even compare the vulnerability you would feel being out in space, the only thing you can even compare that to would be the ocean.
Yeah.
And being out in the middle of the ocean, you feel so vulnerable because especially if you're bobbing around at the top, because the whole world is beneath you.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to be there. And you have no consciousness of what's below you, but you couldn't be more obvious to anything that might be looking around for you. And so it's
that's
horrifying.
a great way to put it.
Yeah,
that's exactly how the experience feels watching that movie. I think what's also really interesting is that it kind of like really gets under your skin, I think, you know, and it kind of makes you like there's those times like where you question, like, you know, you say it's only a movie, and like, you know, you kind of have that check in your head that I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
But I think there's a couple points in that film where it really got to me, just like the experience that they were going through, and I kind of lost that disconnect for a moment there, where I was like believing that this is only a movie, and it more so felt like something that was real, and that could really be experienced by me in any near future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like truly terrifying. But yeah, the way you put it was incredible. I mean, I think that unknowing of what's below that surface is just
yeah.
And the cameras, you know, the way the cameras, and it's a very minimalist like type of film. Like there's no real greatness to it, but I think that's kind of what allows you to relate to it, because you don't have a lot of insights into these things, like if you were to ever experience something like that, and you really are limited to what you see, just like a lot of the character, you know, experiences.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a cool little film. I also have to mention that movie was like a huge hit. I mean, like a movie that was made for like I think $500,000, and I think went on to make like $55 or $60 million because of the interesting premise, and like the marketing behind it was incredible. And anytime you throw sharks in it, I'm down.
Same.
But yeah, open water is pretty cool.
Well, so that was fun, fellers, talking about that type of movie.
Yeah, I think just to throw, are there other ones that I wanted to say? I mean, that you guys wanted to throw out there? Because I was thinking like movies like, what was the one? 127 Hours, the James Franco movie.
Yeah,
kind of was one.
I didn't really like that movie.
I wasn't like a huge fan of it, but I feel like it's still an impressive performance.
That's one I might have put on the list, but I didn't actually see that one.
Okay.
I thought briefly about The Shining as a possibility, because it does focus on a small group of characters and kind of does track the madness of this one character. But ultimately, I kind of struck it just because I feel like the character of the wife and the kid are strong enough.
Sure.
Yeah.
But in the sense of what you experience with Jack Nicholson in that movie with his character, you really are seeing the isolation of a person and what the effect that has on someone.
What about Into the Wild?
I had that as a possibility.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention that one. I don't know why I didn't. I think that
qualifies.
Yeah, that was
and back in the realm of like concert films, Spalding Gray, is a monologuist who had a series of films that he did with Jonathan Demme, and they were basically like one-man shows that were filmed versions of him sitting at a desk or sitting on a stage doing his monologues, but they were filmed in a filmed more like a documentary or a movie than necessarily the way a lot of times the concert films can be done. And those were movies I considered, but I ultimately went with Bill Cosby when I was thinking about that sort of movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, I'm sure we could think of more movies that spend so much time with one character that you could make the argument that they fit this. I mean, really, what that one-man show thing suggests is that the driving force behind this movie is this actor's performance, and that opens it up to a lot of different things, like Money Pit. And
Definitely Money Pit.
Speaking of which, Money Pit, you can't talk about Money Pit without thinking about that great scene where the tub breaks through the floor.
Yes.
And Tom Hanks, shot through the hole in the floor, has the meltdown of laughter and madness.
That's a great
It's
shot.
almost like a reversal of the shot that I was talking about from Breaking Bad in Crawl
yeah.
Space. It's like a reverse view, but it's definitely a person whose mind is broken. But we've seen other recent films. Before we end this episode, we should talk a little bit about those. I know, Steve, you've probably seen more movies than the rest of us, which leads us to have a feature that I really wanted to call Quick Reads with Steve Reeder, but then I found out that that's not how Steve's last name is pronounced. So we have to instead call this feature Quick Ritz
Like the cracker?
with Steve Ritter. And that's what I was going to say to you guys.
Dude, sponsorship.
If you guys want to have a quick Ritz,
Oh, yes.
while we talk
John,
about
you
these
were hiding
films-
the crackers?
Yes, I had them here.
Sneaky bastard.
I
Like
love
a quick
Ritz.
Ritz, Ronald?
Absolutely. I'm
We
taking
should
two.
be. Oh my God! You just crushed two of them. We should be monetizing this.
Yeah.
Why
should.
is Ritz not sponsoring us?
Okay.
John's like, I'm gonna give you this one.
I was
No, I'll
about
take
to
that.
hand you a cracker, but oh, good. So now people can complain. I know people love nothing more than hearing you eat on a microphone.
And trust me, they taste really good.
Yeah, these are buttery. They're crisp. They're
Man,
salty.
the buttery is what makes this
Yeah.
thing.
You know what I like to do?
perfection.
I like to turn it upside down so that the salty side hits my tongue. Anyway,
It's a genius.
so Steve, crunch, crunch. Care to talk about some movies you've
So
seen?
I'm not gonna sit too long on these because I'll just kind of plow through and say my general thoughts and whether I think you should see these films.
Okay,
or
cool.
not. So first up is White House Down.
Holy shit.
I knew everybody was eagerly awaiting this film. Ronald, I know you can't wait to see it. I will say that I think it's basically the same film as Olympus Has Fallen, which came out
I was wondering
like a
about
year
that.
or half a year before this one. I think beat it to the punch. And it actually did much better at the box office than this film, which is weird because this movie's got like Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum. They got big stars in this movie.
Right.
Not very good. It's dumb fun. Like if you like that kind of like
Right.
hoorah, like America,
Oh, no.
like let's blow shit up and save the day. Check it out. 90 minutes, whatever. But it's not really my cup of tea. I'd say if you want to see it, maybe go with the DVD or Blu-ray. Wait for it. I think it actually is coming out now on
Yeah,
Blu-ray,
really,
which
really
is
soon.
how I got to see it. I also saw Runner,
How was that?
starring my boy Ben Affleck. My
Has
girl,
he had some work done, like around his eyebrows or something?
Really?
I saw a picture of him that looked
Really?
at least.
I'll
like,
have to ask him
It
and
looked
let
at
you
least
know.
like somebody has like plucked very. He had
He
like
may be like kind of well
get-
kept.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
He's getting ready for Batman.
maybe he is.
I don't know. Well, he's in this film as well.
You just don't
as
want to see your boy
Justin
getting Kenny
Timber-
Rogers eyes. You don't want to see him getting
No,
Kenny
no,
Rogers
that's
eyes.
just awkward. That's
just
weird. Justin Timberlake, Gemma Arterton.
Arterton.
She's really easy and nice to look at. I love Ben
It's
Affleck.
really easy.
She's easy in life. I've heard. Basically, I'm saying you have a chance, Ronald.
Thanks, man.
Basically, he's saying she's a whore.
Yeah, I didn't say that. John Walker.
No, he
did.
meant easy, I think, and nice to look at. Easy to look at and
Easy
nice to
like
look
a
at.
Sunday morning?
Sure.
She's easy like Sunday morning. Yeah.
Okay.
So this movie's not good. not good. Just to get to it real quick. I wanted it to be good because it looked kind of fun. Cool idea, I think. Very poorly executed.
Who directed it?
I was looking it up. The guy that did Lincoln Lawyer, which
Okay.
actually I really liked.
I knew it was somebody that had done something that was supposed to be good.
Lincoln Lawyer was good.
Yeah, Brad Furman. Yeah, surprisingly, Lincoln Lawyer was great. I thought
a great
really
movie.
surprised me. There's just not enough going on with this film, like to really drive the plot through to the end. I mean, it kind of jumps all over the place. I actually honestly think Ben Affleck's pretty good in this movie, and so is Gemma. She's not really in it a whole lot. The big problem for me with the movie was Justin Timberlake, which
Really?
I generally find him
You were trying to
charismatic.
combine generally and genuinely.
Genuinely, yeah. I mean, either would work.
Generally.
Yeah. He's like very charismatic, very entertaining, and most things I've seen him in, I've thought he's done a pretty good job, like in like Alpha Dog and Social Network and smaller roles. But I think as the star of this film, did not have the legs to carry this movie. And I'm kind of curious to see what he does next. I know he is in the Coen Brothers film in a smaller role, which I think he will play too. You know, his strength. But I'm curious of what his next big role.
I like the Time movie.
The what?
Time. Was
That movie was horrible, man.
You didn't like it?
What was it called? Like In Time or About Time?
I like that movie.
No.
What?
No, I mean it's cool that you like. I'm not a fan. I would say just pass this movie altogether. It may not even be worth your money on like DVD.
Fuck,
or
it was
Blu-ray.
that bad?
I think it's got like a. I don't even know if it's in double digits on Rotten
Well,
Tomatoes.
it's the worst kind of movie for me where I'm mildly interested or mildly curious, and then I keep seeing like these 2.5 star and C level reviews. I mean, I'm almost more interested in a movie that gets 1 star and F reviews than a movie that gets C minus. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's almost nothing enticing
It's like
about
perfectly mediocre
a movie that didn't look that special to begin with, and then you find out that people are not that excited to even trash it. It's like
yeah, there's not really enough of a payoff there. Like I don't know. It's like I said, the premise is cool. Like it's got a cool idea that I could go through with if it was developed better and like a better screenplay or something. That just didn't work. It's got 8%. I just looked it up. That's
8%.
8%.
8.
8. Yes.
That is
as in Cal Ripken's number. 8.
so crazy.
That makes me hungry.
Single digits.
Yeah. Have another Ritz, John.
I'm just gonna have a quick Ritz.
The next movie that I saw, so I'm going through these probably,
Absolutely.
is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Duh.
Duh.
I felt like this movie was much more geared towards kids than the first one was. Like all the food puns and like
Yeah, I
you
was
know the
wondering
little
about the
kind of
puns.
what's that?
I was wondering about the puns. I heard this one had a lot of big puns.
Yeah, there's a lot of big puns in this film.
Why is that such a funny sentence to me? Yeah, I was wondering about the puns.
I know that was keeping you.
What
up
is
at
the
night.
pun level? They need on the rating, you know, when they say like sometimes for nefarious
puns.
violence and
The big pun was not in it though. He passed away 13 years ago.
That's the way quite a while ago.
A hologram was in the film though.
that's what he meant by he was wondering about the puns. He was like, I was wondering about big
I
pun.
was wondering about big puns.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's still
His whole puns family.
a fun film, a cute family film, much more family kiddie than the first one, which I thought was a lot funnier, and I just enjoyed more. The voice talent is always great. I think Bill Hader is an incredible voice talent in general. I think, and even Anna Faris as the girl, or the female lead.
I've discovered it's Anna.
Anna Faris, yes, Anna Faris. You're right.
I've been saying it wrong all this time.
Well,
She's a
obviously I
native
have
of the
to.
Maryland.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Crazy.
How did Terry Crews?
We could probably get her on the podcast if she knew we filmed here.
Done.
Or recorded here.
We should shoot for that.
How did Terry Crews stand in for Mr. T?
Fine.
No difference?
I mean, there's no disconnect or whatever for me.
You weren't like, God damn.
Where's Mr. T? I'm out.
yeah.
Where's my refund?
That's not the real T.
But yeah, I don't know. Like in terms of family film, because there's not really a lot in the theaters now, I say check it out. You know, it's cute, it's fun. It is a great experience, I think, for a family to go to together. Like if an adult just going to the movie on their own, like a lot of these animated films really offer a lot to more than just kids. I think this one really kind of missed that ambiguous humor that really kind of a lot of animated films really draw some of the adult crowd in with. Where the first one had a lot of it, I thought, and it just felt like much more, I guess, dumbed down, or brought down to like a more of a child.
I feel like that was my pick for this month.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's getting to a point now where that computer generated style of animated movie has to be worth your time now.
Well, you can also, though, have a movie that really does, in terms of its look, holds up amazingly well.
Yeah.
And doesn't have much of a script behind it.
And I think that's what keeps happening. Like you get these amazing looking movies that aren't. I heard The Croods was really good. I still haven't seen it.
I've heard good things about that too. I
Yeah,
haven't
like
watched it yet, though.
it's funny because I thought that The Croods looked like it wasn't going to be as good
Agreed,
as Cloudy.
yeah.
And everybody keeps saying that The Croods is really good. So maybe.
Well, I definitely was one of those people that thought the Croods looked horrible, but I
think we all did. I remember.
But
Yeah, we
strangely,
did a little
strangely,
bit. I wanted to see it more than you.
I was about
guys
to say, I
did.
think that you were slightly softer on
Us,
it,
yeah.
but you weren't like coming in here saying, "Guys,
Yeah,
the Croods,
we gotta see
Steve,
it."
get me some passes." I think I may have seen a couple of the other movies
What'd you say?
that you saw. I saw The Dirties. Holy shit.
What the fuck? Where'd this movie come from?
The
I don't know.
Dirties.
Written and directed by Matthew Johnson and starring Matthew Johnson,
Yeah.
who I believe plays Matt
Yeah,
in the
he's
film.
Matt, yeah.
And in fact, I'm looking at the credits here, and it looks like...
Is it a comedy?
Looks like Matt and Owen are both playing characters that are named what the actors
yeah,
are named.
yeah.
So it feeds into what this movie is. You know, it's sort of a found footage approach to a movie. It's more of like a fake documentary in the fact that these characters are shooting constantly. There is a constant question that's never really answered as to who's holding the camera.
Yeah.
But if you accept that you're sort of a fly on the wall and you're seeing what these guys are doing and what they're doing, they're these high school students that I thought were, I mean, it's another one of those, you know, it's nothing like The Spectacular Now, but it's shared with The Spectacular Now a certain understanding of the way people really hang out and the way people really talk to each other and the way
Totally.
friends really are, and especially the way that, like, nerdy... movie buff friends would be. I mean, I know when I was a kid, you know, if we had a video camera, we were always running around shooting stuff. And these guys, Matt and Owen, definitely have that feel of just the friends that are always shooting something. They're always doing some kind of project. The kids at their high school, you can tell, think of them kind of as freaks, but they're also not the, you know, they're not like the most hated people in the world. They're just kind of off on their own little island in this school, and it's all about them trying to make a movie where they get revenge on bullies, and then how that kind of mutates into a plan to get real revenge on the bullies at their school. And you see that, you know, one of them is more into it than the other, and the movie kind of goes from that angle of, are these guys really planning a mass murder at their school, and if so, are they going to go through with it? How far is it going to get? There's a real tension that kind of comes into it. But as far as showing how a possible path could be taken where someone could go from just having a bone to pick to feeling like we got to do something, this movie definitely takes you down this unsettling path where you really do feel like you're seeing the way these characters go off the deep end.
The Dirties.
The Dirties.
Yeah, it's on video on demand now. Kevin Smith picked, like, I guess his production company picked it up and is helping distribute it.
Which I would say the fact that his name is on it, don't let that scare you away, because this movie has a technical polish to it and a style that I don't think any of his films have ever had.
No, but
even being a fake documentary found footage thing, it has a real kind of directorial confidence to it. And I'm blown away that it's the kid who starred in it. I mean, you know,
yeah,
because he was great.
The only reason I bring up Kevin Smith is because that's the only reason that either of us have heard of this movie.
Right, he distributed
okay.
it.
I don't think it has anything to do with, like, don't relate it to him, but I mean, that's how it's getting out at this point. But yeah, just there's a quote there's on the film's marketing. There was one of the
Ritz Ronald?
Yeah, quick break.
one of the press quotes from a writer from the Huffington Post. It says, "The most empathetic and human portrait of bullying and its deadly consequences ever put on film." And I mean, that's really the film in a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It just feels so natural, which is really, really scary to watch these two kids who are making a movie that transitions from being a movie like this, like action, you know,
Like a spoof.
yeah, spoof movie, to a movie about taking revenge on the bullies. And then one of them, you can kind of feel their friendship fracture, and one of them really begins to take this as a real serious thing, that, like, I'm really making a movie about getting even with them, like, I'm really going to do it. And the other friend kind of more so ventures into a normal existence in high school.
Yeah, different path.
Yeah, like trying to find friends. And the last, like, minute of the movie is absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so uncomfortable and scary, and, like, kind of, it just, you know, even just talking about it now, it makes me upset, because it's like, that feels like what happens.
Yeah.
Like, these kids, like, I have no
you-
authority
right.
or experience to, like, be able to speak on the subject.
Yeah.
But in my mind, watching something like this, the way the last 3 or 4 minutes play out, and especially the last 60 seconds, this is what I imagine it actually happens. These kids don't, I don't know. These kids don't start out as, like, killers.
No.
You know, like, they start out as just goofball film kids who are making, you know, they're like the outside of the circle. You know, they're like the hipsters, or, you know, the outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very delicately portrayed. And again, like the character in The Spectacular Now, this kid who's kind of an outcast, but kind of not, kind of a cool guy, kind of not, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, these guys are nerdy, but you see how in college, or in a
Oh,
different
yeah.
situation, these guys would flourish because the main guy, which it's really interesting that it's written and directed by the lead, because this character that he plays is such a well observed character, and he is that kind of live wire, funny, crazy guy that, I mean, I was watching this movie. It's hard for me not to filter it through my thoughts about my son and whatever future he's going into and whatever world when he goes into high school, what's it going to be like? And half the time you look at this and you go, I kind of hope that my kid has a friend like this guy.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the other half of the time you're like, oh, Jesus, fuck, I hope my son never has a friend like this guy.
Right.
But like, you wouldn't know. I mean, when kids are having fun and they're running around with a camera, I mean, there's even a bit where they're joking with someone about we're planning a school shooting, and you don't know if they know if they're joking, but certainly the person they're talking to doesn't take it seriously. It's Steve, very uncomfortable because of how believable it is. It just feels like it walks you to that moment where something like this could happen, and again, whether it happens and how it plays out is almost less important than that feeling of dread about just like, I know this is going to go bad. And the movie really draws it out. Like, it keeps getting deeper and deeper into the psychology of these characters and again, how they're different, how these two friends really are having a parting of the ways.
It reminds me of that the Gus Van Sant film Elephant. Did you ever see that? It was like it's like from 10 years ago or something. It's about the same thing, like about like a school shooting, and
I remember that.
just I mean, I felt like this was way better. I mean, a lot less pretentious and like way less stylized. I mean, it just felt really, really real. I mean, it felt real. I mean, a kid going to school early with a bag and saying, "I'm here just early. I'm meeting my," it's just like, who questions that shit?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary.
Well, he
how
goes down to
natural
the
transgression is.
He goes down to, I guess, like City Hall or wherever to get the blueprints for the school, and he just says, I'm doing a project for my school, and they just give him the blueprints. I mean, and the kid is kind of amazed at how easy it is to do this, but he's such like a bright, funny, kind of mostly, I mean, again,
He's like laughing a lot of it off.
in to our point of view, somewhat likable character. So you really are sitting. It's kind of stunning what they are able to pull off with this character. Really, I mean, I think you could almost put this in that category of movies that are driven by a central performance, because this kid is pretty much on camera for the whole movie, and it becomes more and more about him and less about like the relationship with the friend. But there are certain aspects of their friendship that are familiar to you from like Columbine and other situations where it seemed like there's been like a partnership. But no, just a brief note about another movie I saw that was very not similar to this at all, but made me think of when I was watching The Dirties, I thought about Zero Charisma, which I had just seen, which is another movie that kind of takes a sort of a bleak, realistic view of like a nerd. And in that movie, I don't know if you know about Zero Charisma, but it's all about these gamer friends who get together to play a kind of a variation on Dungeons and Dragons.
No.
And the game master has got this kind of rules over his little group of nerdy friends, but he's like living in his grandmother's house and he's got a crappy job, and you can tell he's a little too old to be in the room full of all the posters, and he's that big overweight guy. There's a scene at the very beginning where he's like buying all the junk food for his friends coming over, and the checkout girl is looking at like the chips and candy and soda he's buying, and she's like, "What, are you buying this stuff for your nephew's birthday party or something?" And he's like, "No." But he's that kind of guy, that easily offended, super smart, but like socially awkward nerd.
Yeah.
And it's a movie that has more to say about what nerdiness really is and what it means to be kind of a dyed-in-the-wool old school nerd versus kind of a hipster nerd. Because what happens is these guys, a spot opens up in their game and they end up needing to fill it. And the person that fills it is your horn rim wearing hipster nerd.
Yeah.
And I think the movie actually does a pretty good job of showing that the hipster nerd is actually a real nerd too. He's not a poser. I mean, like, he seems a little bit more like a poser, but he's got a legitimate interest in it. And so the movie does not play the game of like, oh, here's the snobby hipster nerd and we are in love with this lovable slob nerd and how they butt heads. It's much more lovable is not even the word for him. The slob nerd just basically alienates everybody and basically loses everything that he has before he realizes that he's the cause of much of his own problems. So even though you are supposed to see this hipster nerd as kind of a douche, the story's much more about just how unlikable can you make your protagonist and still be on their side. And I think the actor, I believe his name is Scott Eidson. Sam Eidson. Scott is the name of the character, but Sam Eidson, who plays the lead, he's just such a talented actor, and he's so good at hitting all the right notes that even when his character is turning you off incredibly with what just sort of like a loathsome, kind of bullying, petty person he is, he draws you in with just what a finely tuned performance it is. And so you do sort of, it's hard to root for him. You root for him a little bit. But what was interesting to me was in both movies, both in The Dirties and in Zero Charisma, the room of this main character is like a shrine to all of their crazy obsessions. And so his room in Zero Charisma is full of all the little, whatever they call those little metallic figurines. What do they call those in the gaming thing? I know that people paint them. You know, that people get, he's got like the magnifying glass, and he's got the acrylic paint.
I tried to get into that.
He paints up all those little, they're like little metal figurines that you use when you're playing the games. But it's like, you know, got all the band posters all over the wall. And then in The Dirties, the kid's room, he's got all of his comic books and trading cards all over the wall. And you see how each of the characters has created this kind of cocoon of all their obsessions. Two very nerdy characters, very different approaches. Zero Charisma is not necessarily a lighthearted comedy, but it does eventually stop short of, you know, having the character plan murdering people. But it was funny to be watching those two movies pretty much in the same day and realize that they both are totally different takes on what it means to be a social misfit and how sometimes these people are, you know, powder kegs waiting to go off.
Yeah.
Man, the scene in The Dirties, like towards the end when it's Matt, right?
Yeah.
When Matt like comes upstairs finally and you see something else of the house and he's talking to his mom and he just blatantly asks her like, "Am I crazy?"
Yeah, do I seem crazy to you?
That scene was just like my worst fear, like of what maybe a possible like, I don't know, like a reach out for some sort of help, you know, or some sort of acknowledgement of something. Not to say that the mother's participation more so than she does in the film would have changed.
She doesn't seem like a bad mom. She actually seems like, because she even is like, "Why do you feel that way?"
Yeah.
But it makes you realize, yeah, you could really have people fooled.
Yes, that's it. That's what's scary to me. Like that. Yeah, that scene is really tough to watch. But yeah, I'll definitely see that, man. It's on video on demand now.
The Dirties.
The Dirties, yeah.
I wrote it down.
And actually, on demand as well is Zero Charisma, which I mean, I would pretty highly recommend it. I think that it suffers from. Well, it does. It's one of those. It's a low budget film that does a lot with its budget. It has the kind of broad. There's some performances in it that are kind of broad that kind of take away from the kind of fundamental reality of it. But it treads the line between being kind of a comedy and a drama anyway. So I would say Zero Charisma, definitely something that I missed in the festival this last year, and I was really glad to finally see it. But it's on demand as well. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I gotta check that out. The last one I was gonna just mention real quick was. It's in theaters now. It's the film Rush. Ron Howard's new film, written by Peter Morgan.
I'm sorry, Steve.
That's okay. Chris Hemsworth, also known as Thor, for those of you looking for him. That's what his next movie is. And Daniel Bruhl, who's probably gonna get nominated for an Oscar for this movie. A movie that I knew nothing about. I mean, I'm beyond the stars and the premise. Like, I don't know anything about Formula One racing. I don't know anything about the history, this based on true events story about James Hunt and Niki Lauda, played by Chris and Daniel respectively. I tell you, man, this movie was pretty great. I would definitely see this movie in theaters if you just want to be entertained for almost 2 hours. I think it's got the feeling of like that sports movie challenge competition vibe that a lot of people like about sports films. But I think being like a sport that's not, I guess, one of the mainstream, like the big ones like baseball, football, basketball, whatever, hockey, it may not draw the people in for that element. But I think the story itself is incredible. I never knew it, and I wish I had, because it's like an ultimate story. It's really about two protagonists that you don't ever really root against one or the other. Mm-hmm. And that's really how the whole thing apparently played out in 1970. You know, when this challenge or when this struggle, this competition was happening. I don't know if it was 70. It was in the 70s. I don't know exactly the year, but between these two people who were racing for different teams, who were racing for different motivations. James Hunt was like the playboy, the star, the rock star of the circuit, and Niki Lauda was more of like the pragmatic, the really tactical driver. And it's just a really cool film. I mean, really excellent cinematography, shot very well. The racing scenes are really great because you think a movie that is all about racing.
The 1976 season.
76. Thank you, John. All about racing, with a lot of racing. might get old with just like repeat it, like, oh, that car's loud, oh, those cars are fast, that was an awesome turn. The really cool framing of the races is I think what makes these so exciting, because each race is kind of preceded with some sort of precaution or some sort of framework that lets you be a little more distracted by it, and the racing just really is like the icing on the cake.
Wow.
You know, things like the weather, or things like something happening in one of their lives that day, or coming up the following day, things like that almost distract you enough from like, oh, it's another race, and then the race starts and you're just like, holy shit, that was awesome. You know, and because those events play into their performances, you know, both as actors but also as racers in the film. You know, just a really cool racing sequences. And I don't think I've ever seen a Formula One race in my life. And I kind of want to watch one just to see what the experience is like outside of like versus like NASCAR, which I've seen a few and I'm not really a fan of. And reading an interview after I saw it with Niki Lauda, basically like him saying that the movie is like extremely accurate, like to down to like really crazy details, is really kind of nice to read, because some of the stuff in the movie, like, that could not have happened like that. And to hear you know, the racer that is based on, you know, in an interview like that, it's something that you don't usually hear about these like based on true event movies. Like, they're usually, you know, dramatized and all these things are added to make it more of a movie. But apparently this competition in 76 really was like quite the crazy experience. And you know, I would definitely go see Rush. It's on my top 10 as of right now.
Oh wow.
Just a really, really fun movie. Olivia Wilde's in it. She's great. And I can't remember who plays Niki Lauda's wife in the film. A female. I know I've seen her before. I just can't place her name. I'd have to look it up and maybe add it later. But just a really well-rounded film. And Ron Howard, man, I think he's, I don't know. I was trying to think of like movies I don't really like by Ron Howard. And I have trouble thinking of a movie I dislike.
Well, I heard someone compare the visuals to like Wachowski Brothers style visuals, which again you don't expect from Ron Howard at all.
Yeah, that's something that comes into mind, especially during the racing sequences, like how saturated a lot of the scenery is, and just like there's a specific race like when it's raining, and it proves to be like a turning point in this whole, you know, competition, is a race when it's raining that was almost not supposed to take place, and really kind of sets forth the course of events that carry the rest of the film. And that sequence in particular is just expertly shot. I mean, like, just amazing. So I would definitely, of all the movies, I mean, Dirties is on demand, so you can get that at home. But go to the theater and see Rush. It's a really great movie, and the word of mouth is great. It's not performing extremely well because I think it is kind of a niche kind of movie, but I mean, I loved it. Rush was really great.
Ronald?
Any more Ritz? There you go, Ronald.
One more Ritz?
I'll take one more.
You want to help me finish off the sleeve? So, did you say you saw Kevin Hart?
Yeah. So a couple other, like, I guess one DVD or video on demands. I saw Kevin Hart Let Me Explain.
How'd you like that?
Did not like it.
Have you seen it?
I thought it was okay.
I thought it had the structure of like a great performance, but the material just wasn't his best material. But there were definitely bits that were funny that I found myself laughing out loud at. But overall, it felt like, and I particularly didn't care too much for like the wraparound stuff and like the 10 minutes of just bragging about all the cities he's been in and stuff. It really padded out like an hour-long performance into an hour and 15-minute movie. And I think that part of that hurt. Like by the time it got to the comedy, I was almost a little tired of it already.
Yeah, I agree.
But no, I think it's interesting. I think the most interesting thing to say about Let Me Explain, which is the name of this special, is just that he's maybe the only stand-up comic right now that is at that level where he's going to put out a movie.
Yeah,
that's
weird.
Like that. I mean, like I don't know if this ever showed up in a theater, but I don't.
It did incredible.
It was a hit. It was huge.
Okay, so I mean that's it. But I mean, is there anyone else at that level? I mean, it seems like every so often there's someone at that level. Like not too long ago, it was Dane Cook, who was
Louis C.K.
and maybe Louis C.K. But even Louis C.K. is a different experience. Like Louis C.K.'s approach to stand-up comedy is wears street clothes on stage, no pyrotechnics.
Oh no, I know. What
but I mean, like Kevin Hart,
it's a
production.
He's kind of carrying the torch from that Eddie Murphy thread. That idea of this guy is a rock star, And again, I guess you could say the same thing about Louis C.K. at this point. But still, the way he does it, he's almost embarrassed by all the crowds being there. Whereas Kevin Hart, it's all about like connecting with that giant crowd. And the one thing I do think comes across, even if the material's not his best is his excitement
Oh, totally.
about being there is very infectious. And I did find myself, like, again, you could tell he was very emotionally touched by
At
the response
end,
he was getting. Yeah.
No, that was a great. I did identify with that ending of that.
And I do still like the fact that he's one of the few comics who makes himself the butt of the joke so much. I mean, he's very
that's
self-effacing,
really
and it's like
funny.
that continues to be funny. It's just I felt like every joke he made in this special was like a new version of a joke he's already made.
I need to watch more. I mean, like I'm not super.
Have you seen his other stuff?
That's what I was gonna say. I'm not
Cool.
super familiar with him. I know who he is, and I know I've seen certain bits.
His
from
other
friends
stuff, his early stuff,
that have
is
shown
really
me, and
good.
I thought it was hilarious. But
Yeah.
I felt what lacked from this stand-up film was a lot of great stand-up material, and I wasn't like dying like I thought I was gonna be.
What exactly what John was saying? You have to see his last one to understand the references, why they're so funny, the references in the new one, which is kind of a.
There are
interesting
kind of
thing.
callbacks, yeah.
They're callbacks to other jokes, which is
So you've seen the other one? Mm-hmm. What's that called?
He's had two, right? Before this, there was.
Laugh at My Pain was right when his mom died, or is
I'm just curious if like it's been recent.
fairly. I mean, he's had two, but
I'm looking here to see all of his.
You should see the first one, the one that one's on Netflix.
There's Laugh at My Pain. There's Seriously Funny, which I think was the one that
Seriously Funny was the first one, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Seriously Funny is the one you should see.
Okay.
And then Laugh at My Pain's good, but Seriously Funny. I think that one of the things that makes Kevin Hart so amazing is how universal his comedy is. The fact that it's not. One of the things that got to me as I got older about showing people Raw and Delirious is how like isolating it could be racially and like faggot.
Well, I
said
would
a
say
lot
that
and
Kevin Hart slips into some of that kind of casual homophobia at times.
yeah.
But again, the joke is still directed back on him in most of those instances. And he seems to be kind of joking about how he feels like he's maybe in a culture where you'd have to be careful about those implications of homophobia or you know, homosexuality or whatever. But it's like, again, I feel like he's joking about it. Whereas you're right, with Eddie Murphy, some of that stuff just has not aged well at all.
It hasn't.
Yeah.
It
Like
hasn't.
some of
It's
those are
still
jokes you wouldn't get
amazing.
away with making now without having to
Right.
couch it in something, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like he was honestly like those jokes that Eddie Murphy made are just like aren't gay people weird? You know what I mean? It's like it's like almost the assumption is that no gay person is going to listen to this and need to laugh at
As a
it.
timestamp on it.
Yeah.
It's like, did you hear that Tracy Morgan is gonna try doing stand up with no profanity?
Oh no, I didn't hear that.
He like his last like tour had no profanity apparently. So it's interesting that people are kind of taking a more clean approach. I feel like he can't be too clean, even without profanity. But I don't know. You should watch Kevin Hart stuff.
I will watch. I mean,
He's
because I'm genuinely
good,
interested
like,
in
really.
finding like a really good comedian that is like what everyone seems to think of.
Yeah.
I
Kevin
like his
Hart.
bits about his uncle.
Yes. Do you like Aziz?
I love Aziz.
Yeah. Did you watch? Have you seen his new stuff?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see. So I guess we should talk about that. Straight to Netflix. His next.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. So
His next special. So I'm looking forward to seeing it because I saw it like a while ago downtown. Watched him perform, and it was so different than everything that he had done prior to that.
we were there together in different seats, right?
Yeah, in different
Yeah.
seats. Yeah, and it's interesting to see how different he's grown so much, and his subject matter is changing. Seeing somebody grow that could be kind of, I don't know. I think there's a lot ahead for him and Kevin Hart, and Louis C.K. just keeps getting better.
Well, I mean, I saw him last New Year's Eve, and it was very
Louis
much,
CK?
and it was very much like the special that came out a few months ago was a lot of the material that I saw him doing. So it was kind of that's always interesting to see the live performance and then see that what they eventually release, because you can tell there's certain things you go, oh, what I remember may have actually been funnier in this way, but this is funnier than what I saw because certain things they develop, and I think that's really interesting the way stand-up comics like Louis C.K. famously is. Basically turns over an hour every year. Most comics don't move that fast. But
crazy.
I think that concept of you tour it, you hone it, you release it, you're done with that material. It's totally different from the way it used to be, where a comic might have an hour of material and might tour on the back of it for 20 years, telling the same jokes. Like you don't get to do greatest hits as a comedian as much as you used to. I think now people want to hear new material.
Yeah,
And
totally.
they don't even want to hear you tell a joke that they heard you tell on the Tonight Show. You know,
Yeah.
they don't want it to be anything that's not fresh. So
They were talking about that too, like the idea that they have to have security around because the jokes get out and people repeat them. Did you see the James Franco roast?
no.
Aziz did a really good job doing that. Andy Samberg did you watch it?
No,
did
I
you watch
didn't
it
see
yet?
either, no.
You should watch it. Andy
it
Samberg
out.
did this really good set that people really didn't get, but he's like kind of playing on the whole idea that he's doing a terrible set.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole gimmick, but like it's done in such a good way.
Well, Norm Macdonald did that brilliantly at the Bob Saget roast years ago, where he came out and his jokes were so corny, but he just sticks with it. And by the time he gets like that gets me rolling still, because
Right.
you can feel the crowd start to get it and then start to really appreciate what he's doing.
it's
And
weird when
still,
people don't get
it's
it.
still a weird thing to do, though. It's still
Yeah.
like kind of brave to go out there and like.
Bombing on purpose is one of the funniest
Yeah.
things I've ever seen.
But also, I think in that context, avoiding dirty jokes is the other thing that made that so funny. Is to
Yeah.
come out and on the Bob Saget roast, where everyone is, it's
Sure.
the most vulgar content of
great.
all
Yeah,
time.
that was
For
great.
someone to come out and be clean and corny, and be hilarious,
Yeah.
that worked on so many levels.
I did my first clean set that ended in a breast joke. I was fine. I was 5 minutes. I was done. I'm like, done, clean, no dirty jokes. And I'm like, I have to tell this breast joke in front of these old ladies so they will not forget me. I told it, man. It's like, yes. 5 minutes of clean material, man. I was so proud of myself. I've been doing it for like a year. I never had a clean set. And
And then you popped a titty.
I popped.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes is a titty joke. And to hear an old black lady go, oh my goodness. That's all that counts. That's all I wanted to hear. And it worked. So,
Job well done.
job. Mission accomplished.
We're all out of crackers.
Crackers are gone.
We're all out of movies.
The conversation only lasts as long as the pack of crackers.
That's the new rule.
That's our new thing. That
Yep.
just happened. We just came up with that.
Yeah.
What
No
is
more crackers, no
genius?
more show.
Well, that's episode 88.
It really was.
That was it.
Thanks for listening.
I think that's the only number the only 2-digit number except for 11 that if you turn it upside down, it still kind of looks the
That's
same
true.
number.
That's true.
Blew my mind.
Everybody chew on that for the next week or two. We hope we'll be back next week with a new episode, but Steve is going away for his annual trip to Hogwarts, is it? Where are you going, Steve? Where are you going?
Yeah, it's, back to Orlando
Are you going to the Breaking Bad thing? I mean, not Breaking Bad.
for the
Hold on.
Hollywood Horror Nights.
Don't tell me.
Dead.
The Walking Dead. That's
Walking
what it is.
Dead. Yeah.
Don't they have a Resident Evil house?
Yes.
And they have a Cabin in the Woods house,
Yes.
too.
And
Damn it.
Evil
damn it.
Dead. And American Werewolf in London.
Steve, do us a favor.
Yes, sir.
Record memos
Okay.
throughout your experience so that
Okay.
we can have
Please
a little
do.
highlight reel of Steve's reactions to all the
Done.
fun.
Are you going to take that
That'll be
Universal
awesome.
Studios app where it tells you the time of each?
The wait time.
Wait,
Dude,
what
I'm
a good
I'm
app.
a pro, Ronald.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I'm a pro, dude.
Once I
You
discovered
have no
that,
idea.
Once I discovered that, I was like,
Life
this
is so much easier.
How does that happen? Is there one person observing that? How does that work?
No, you can like people have the app and you can
And you
check
just
in. It's
check
like
in.
crowdsourced.
That is such a good idea. I remember when I went to Universal, I was like, what is this app? Mm-hmm. Boop. That's not busy.
I can't wait. I'll be on my way there.
Are you getting one of those?
Actually, yes, as this episode is
Yeah,
dropping, you will
yeah.
be.
Are you getting one of those passes so you can go ahead? I kind of wanted to try that.
Not for the park itself, but for the horror nights. Yes,
I think next time
you
around I'm
absolutely
gonna.
need it because it is packed,
Right.
and to get through all the houses and all the shows and the scare zones and everything, like having that little express pass thing is like, it's expensive as all hell, but it's worth it to be able to go through everything more than once if you want. But yeah, I can't wait. And then of course I will go to Hogwarts,
Yeah.
my stop, and I will also be going to Disney World as well. So I'll be
Wow,
sure to take
you're
movies
doing
from
it
the
all.
up
I
in there.
really want to go to Disney World again. I didn't go to I went to Universal the last time I went to Florida. I wanted to go to Disney
Cannot
World.
wait.
Well, we hope you have a good time.
Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Oh,
And
yeah,
like
have a
we
wonderful
said,
time.
maybe back next week with a new one. If not, a week after
Try to
that,
squeeze her in.
for sure.
Yeah.
And probably by that time we will have seen some movies. I don't know what all the release dates are, but there's still some good stuff coming
Some
out
good
over the
stuff
next
coming
few
up
weeks.
next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's heating up.
What's
Or-
coming up?
or-
About Time. 12 Years a Slave. For the State.
Wow. What about that?
Captain Phillips, which is out now.
You mean Tom Hanks versus the Somali pirates?
Dude, apparently it's incredible.
Man,
You got to see it. Paul Greengrass. I mean, you got to see this movie.
I gotta say,
It's
it,
gonna be nominated for
looks
everything.
really good, but it does not look like a fair fight between those like 5 skinny guys with guns and like the entire U.S. Army coming in. It does not look like a fair fight.
The movie ends with him throwing Will
So,
Smith.
Yeah, right.
so the first version of the trailer was them just being these heartless people, and then there's the second trailer when the Somali guy's like, "I can't go back.
Yeah.
I can't go
It's
back."
not about
Then I was
that.
like, "Oh, okay, all right, now I get it." Because I was like, "Is it just gonna be like, kind of like Argo? Is it gonna be like those sort of foreign people?" Or is it going to be people with hearts that have some
Right.
like ideas about things and
We'll have to
Well,
see.
we'll know
Intellect.
soon enough
Oh,
when
yeah.
we all go see it and talk about
Tom
it
Hanks
on Movie
versus the
Schmovie.
Somali pirates?
Captain Phillips.
I wonder if there's any phone booths on that.
I was just gonna say
on that boat. Doubt it though. Highly unlikely.
they have seafoam booths out there.
Seafoam booths.
Yeah.
I think so. There's going to be a wire going into the water. Hello, we need help. Hello, we need help. That's fucking funny with that.
I love
bit.
how instead of using like satellite phones, Ronald's dropping lines into the ocean
cartoon.
to get a friggin' call.
Hello?
But we'll discuss that. We'll see if they have phones like that on the boat
Yeah.
in the next episode, probably.
In my movie, it would.
Well, until then, we'll see you guys in episode 89. As always, you made our day. Take care.
Bye.
I'm easy like Sunday morning. That's why I'm easy.
For some reason, when we were talking about the Somali pirate thing, I was thinking.
Oh God, yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.